CFB. Today's lesson is on the ABCs to testing. So let's first spell it out. Throughout your high school career, there are going to be many different tests you need to take, and that can be pretty confusing. Let's go over what some of these tests are. First, you have the EOC. That is called the end of course exam. It's also known as a STAR exam. Don't forget, this is required for graduation. You also have the ACT, which is the American College Testing. It is required for admission and/or college course placement nationwide. You have the PSAT, which is a pre-SAT, and that's just a practice test for the SAT. These scores can be used for scholarships, though. You have the SAT, which is required for admissions and college course placement nationwide. Lastly, we have something called the TSI-A2, which is a Texas Success Initiative. This is used for college course placement in Texas. Let's start out by talking about what the EOC is. So, this is something that is required for high school graduation per Texas Education Agency. The passing scores change based on the benchmarks for each testing administration. These exams are given at different times throughout the year, so in the event you don't pass it the first time, that's okay. You got more chances you can take it. You take it in the spring after you've completed the course. You have a retest opportunity in the summer, and then another retest opportunity in the fall. The areas that are tested are Algebra 1, Biology, English 1, English 2, and U.S. History. Next up, we have something called the ACT, which is the American College Testing. This is a test designed for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders to provide schools and districts with the data necessary to position students for success after high school. The ACT test scores are accepted by all four-year U.S. universities and colleges, including those highly selective universities. The ACT is not an aptitude or an IQ test. Questions are directly related to what you would have learned in your high school courses. Students can sign up on their own to take the test on a Saturday. There is a fee for this test, but if you do qualify for free or reduced lunch, there is a waiver that you would be eligible to take advantage of. What the ACT measures. So the ACT has 4 multiple choice tests that you take. You get tested in English, mathematics, reading, and science. These tests are designed to measure the skills that are most important for success in post-secondary education and that are acquired in secondary education, meaning they're testing what you know in high school so that way they know how well you will do when you have life after high school, when you go to a college or university. The score range for each of these is 4 multiple choice tests, and it ranges anywhere from 1 to 36 points. The composite score is the average of the 4 tests together, and it's rounded to the nearest whole number. Next up, the PSAT. It is considered a practice SAT test, but it can definitely lead to some great scholarship opportunities based on your scores. This applies to the PSAT, the NMSQT, which is taken during the fall of your 11th grade year. Scores are not used for college admission or course selection. Tests are given free of charge for CFB students on school day testing. CFB will register you for the test, so you don't have to worry about signing up on your own. This year, we have something called the PSAT Digital. This is something that's new, and it is a little different than the paper and pencil test. The new digital PSAT is 2 hours and 14 minutes, and the topics being covered are still the evidence-based reading and writing and the mathematics section. The score range is still the same for the digital SAT. The overall score is anywhere from a 320 to a 1520, and then in the 2 separate sections, the evidence-based reading and writing, that ranges between 160 to 760, and the same thing with the mathematics section with a score range of 160 to 760. Next up is the SAT. The SAT is an entrance exam used by most colleges and universities to make those admission decisions and to possibly determine college course placement. The SAT is a multiple choice test, and it does have some sections that have student-produced responses. You are given that test free of charge at CFB. You will take that test in the spring of your 11th grade year and in the fall of your senior year. You can also self-register for additional testing that is available on Saturdays at designated testing sites. You can get a fee waiver if you do sign up and are eligible for free and reduced lunch. So that way you don't have to pay for this test or even sending these scores to your colleges or universities. This is going to be, the new digital one will be 2 hours and 14 minutes in length. The topics covered are the evidence-based reading and writing and the mathematics section. The score range for the SAT, the overall one, is 400 to 1600 points. The evidence-based reading and writing score range is 200 to 800 points, and same thing with the mathematics section. It is between 200 to 800 points on that section. The purpose of the SAT is to measure a high school student's readiness for college and to provide colleges with one common data point that can be used to compare all applicants. It levels the playing field for everybody, so that way we know how everyone is doing on the test, whether you live here in Texas or you live in another state. Next up, we have something called the TSI-A2, the Texas Success Initiative, and this is a placement test for students enrolling in a public college or university in Texas. So what that means is, in the event you did not get college readiness scores with the ACT or SAT, you can take the TSI as another way to prove college readiness, so you can take college courses when you get to college. The TSI will test you in reading, writing, and mathematics. The great thing about this is it is an untimed test compared to the other ones. It is completely online. Only thing is you cannot go backwards to previous questions. You got to keep moving forward. The test is administered to students if they do not meet the TSI criteria from the SAT or the ACT. The score range for the TSI is listed here. For the English section, it's between a 910 and a 990. And the diagnostic, if applicable, is between a score of a 1 through a 6. There is also an essay that is taken as part of the English section, and that score range is between 1 through 8. You also have the mathematics section, and that score range is between a 910 and a 990. If you do need to take the diagnostic, then they have an additional score range between 1 through 6. So we've talked a lot about, okay, these are the score ranges, these are the different tests you need, but right here, I'm going to have you take a minute to take a look at it. These are the actual scores you need. It is either this score or higher in order to show college readiness. Go ahead and take a look at that now. The ACT has changed things up a little bit, and now they require a combined English and reading score of at least a 40, and the math score needs to be at least a 22 or higher. The SAT, the evidence-based reading and writing section, it needs to be at least a 480 or higher, and the mathematics section needs to be at least a 530 or higher. Lastly, for the TSI, for the English section, the score needs to be at least a 945 or higher. In the event you did not get that score of a 945 on that English section, you can take that diagnostic. You need a score of at least a 5 in order to show passing scores, and the essay has to be at least a score of a 5 or better. The mathematics for the TSI needs to be a score of a 950 or higher. In the event it is lower than that 950, then the diagnostic needs to be at least a 6 or higher to show college readiness. And the great thing is, for the ABCs of testing, when you're looking at this for college purposes or to take college courses, you could do a combination in order to show college readiness, and we'll talk about that through further advisory lessons. But for example, if let's say that you did really well on the SAT math section and you got a 600, you showed college readiness in that, but you didn't do so well on the evidence-based reading and writing, you could take the TSI and show college readiness in that. So you could do a combination of various tests in order to show college readiness. Lastly, we also have Xello support available for you. Don't forget you can use the yellow Xello button under the students' digital resources. And you can check out the section on career, lifestyle, and cost in order to expand on your college and career readiness. So don't forget that is also one of the resources available to you anytime that you need. That is it for this section. Don't forget to follow us on social media and reach out to your CCMR Dean with any questions that you have. Until next time, you have a good one.